Einer drei.
What would you say if I were to tell you that the taxi industry is actually occupied by people who are just men and women? It's actually operated and owned by people who just want to put bread on the table for their families. Yes, I know. I know exactly what you're going to talk about. I know exactly about the customer treatment. I know, no, hold on. But I want us to get to the bottom of this and understand exactly what the actual challenges are and what are the things that we need to be doing. So today, we have a very, very important guest. We're doing an outside broadcast. We're doing a live streaming. So you now know that the industry has got two very important big associations. We have the National Taxi Alliance and you have Santaco. But both of these entities are actually businessmen and women. And as a result, Santaco has got a business wing where the people only focus on the business of the taxi industry, the downstream opportunities and all other economic opportunities that are related to this. But you and I have not been exposed to this. We've not spoken a lot about this for a long time, but I want us to get into that. So today we are having a guest, Dr. James Chapman, who's going to introduce himself. He's old. He's old. He's been in this industry for the longest time. And he's going to talk to us about his journey in the space before we get into the rest of the other things. But for me, you know that my name is Isaack Lesole and this is Transit Ringas. Their show today is about transforming the taxi industry. Remember that the minister, a couple of weeks ago, she said the taxi industry needs to know, recognize, and appreciate that it is a business and it must actually behave like a business. So, and the minister effectively saying competition is part of the business world. So you can't do it otherwise. There's no gun that will solve a competition. You just need to improve customer care, your service for you to get more customers. So yes, Dr. James, welcome to Transit Ringas episode.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much for the opportunity to talk about an industry that I've been involved with for a very long time. Started about 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The late Jimmy Sujani had just created an organization. Jimmy used to live in Soweto and he created with it a fellow called Noah Mologoti. They created the South African Black Taxi Association. I always stop at this point to point out that so funny about our past in this country, because the word black in that name, which was later changed to bus, had to do with the color of the people's skin that traveled in the taxi.
Right.
If you go to London, we went to London that stage, you also get the black taxi of London. The only difference is it's the color of the vehicle. So Jimmy Sujani had started a sector, and I got involved with the organization of the industry, and we went around the country putting together various structures from all the different provinces.
Right.
And it was actually during that period that one realized that this was one of the biggest industries in South Africa, but also one of those that has, even to this day, been largely ignored.
Right.
Everybody talks about the gold mines, but if one looks at the numbers in terms of the taxi industry, it's massive, and it's not given proper recognition by the private sector, and nor is it given recognition by government.
Sure.
If I may just point out that in your opening remarks, you spoke about the minister talking about fair competition.
Mm.
Absolutely. The taxi industry has grown on that very principle of fair competition. But one wonders sometimes how fair competition is when your competitor is paid by government for that service by way of subsidy. And in the transport industry, both the train and the bus receives billions of rands of subsidy.
Right.
Public may not realize this, but the taxi industry does not receive a cent in terms of subsidy. Not a cent. And you have this unbelievable situation. If we take one route from the Pretoria area, leaving Kondebele, taxis rank on the one side of the road, buses on the other. They drop people at the Belhombre station, taxis 20 meters away from the bus. I speak under correction, but I believe the bus subsidy on that route is 60 cents per kilometer per passenger. Taxi industry, not a cent. So, yeah, I agree with fair competition, but let us talk of real fair competition.
I really want to, so this is definitely one of the things that I would want us to talk about, because from where we're sitting, there is this perception that the taxi industry is just made of people who are anti-competition. But I want us to double click on this. Maybe let's define. My team says to me that public transport, by its definition, universally or globally, it only becomes public where government is spending money on them. So if government is not spending money, and 80% of the commuting public is transported by private individuals, can we sit here and say South Africa has got a public transport system, or it is actually a space that is dominated by private businesses doing, or private individuals doing work for government? I want us to get that definition right.
You see, my view in that regard is that the only difference between the taxi and, say, the bus is that it doesn't run on a particular schedule. It waits for people. Once the vehicle is full, it moves off. For the rest, they're exactly the same. And the industry, the taxi industry, if we wanted to call it private, then one would be concerned that you still have to get a operating license from the government. As soon as you have to get an operating license from the government, surely you should then become part of the network of transport in the country. But when it suits government, the taxi industry is outside of the transport sector.
Yeah.
When it suits government the other way, the taxi industry is part of the transport sector.
And I think that's an important thing, James, because government has always gotten away with murder in this case.
Absolutely.
And we have not held the government accountable when it comes to this.
Yes.
When it suits them, and I want to say this, when it suits them, you are a private, you are like a spaza shop owner.
Yes.
So they say, they draw the parallels. They say that the taxi owners are no different from a spaza shop owner. But they don't say that this taxipreneur is actually performing the task on behalf of government.
Of government, correct.
And
correct.
Government is not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
So you and I agree.
Yes.
that government gets away with murder because it uses this definition interchangeably. When it suits them, it uses this way and the other way.
Correct. Correct.
Huh. How do you feel about that?
Well, Isaac, I think that the taxi industry has been given a very raw deal, and been painted in a particular way, when we should be saying that here is a group of individuals that work extremely hard and extremely long hours to service the public in getting them to work, getting them to office, getting them to the shops, etc. And for that reason, I think that the way that it's been painted as a very violent organization, a lot of deaths in the industry, is wrong. So I'm not saying that there are not problems in the industry. They are. Undoubtedly, we see that when people get shot in taxis. But if you look at the number of those that are involved in such parts of the industry, it's a small number. The larger part of the industry, and I'm talking 90% of the industry, are simply hard-working South Africans, be they owner or driver, that get up early, get out there, put their expertise and their finances at risk, because they don't get any assistance. In fact, we'll talk later about that, they get a very, very bad deal. But they do so. And they do so for not great returns.
Right.
So I do think that they get a raw deal.
So maybe then we should say, as you correctly put it, you say you would be the first to acknowledge that there are problems.
Yes.
But have we analyzed the source of these problems beyond issues of money? Because there are issues that I want us to really talk about. This, for instance, the reputation of the industry. Some of the things that are said by the industry itself is to be blamed for it. Because unfortunately, that the industry is seen through the eyes of the driver. And we have not been successful in separating the driver as the employee and the owner of the business as
Yes.
the employer.
Yes.
So the damage that you're getting as the industry, you get it because you have lost control of your own employees. The behavior of your employees, and I'm talking marshals, patrollers, drivers, all of these people, we see the industry through them because you, as the owner, you are sitting at home or in the office doing other things, and people are getting a raw deal as a customer, as a commuter. Why aren't you guys getting hold or getting control over the driver and your employees? Because I think that's the entry point of this negativity.
So the answer is multifaceted. It's not a simple one size fits all.
Yes.
It's multifaceted. One of the biggest problems is that some of the issues that you relate to are simply law enforcement problems. You'll find that people say the vehicle speeds. Some will tell you it even drives on the pavement. It cuts in front of other
motorists. Yeah.
Now, to some extent, that's true. It happens to all of us, happens to me if I'm driving as well. And this is because the driver is racing to try and get more of an income. Now, the owner is not in the vehicle. The owner has given the vehicle to the driver this morning after checking that it's correct and it's working well, given the keys to the driver, and the driver will be paid. And I know that there's a belief that most payments are most drivers are paid a commission. Well, that's not 100% correct.
What
A
is
lot of drivers are in fact paid a proper salary plus a share of the income, but others are not. They simply paid a commission.
Okay.
And therein lies part of the problem. Now, again, law enforcement, because the state has decided that there is a minimum salary for taxi owners.
Okay.
Easy to put that on the books. Easy. How do you check that? How do you get back and make sure that that's happening? Because if that was happening, some of these problems would be relieved. Some of them.
Right.
The other law enforcement is simply traffic. And we know how often you'll see traffic officer pull a taxi off of the road. The taxi guy will drop a 50 rand note.
Yeah.
The traffic officer will lean in and check the brakes of the vehicle while the 50 bucks is picked up.
Yeah.
And off he goes.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the way we are going to allow law enforcement in any part of the country, we are going to suffer the consequences, and we are suffering some of those consequences now.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that the industry is not to blame. Yes, owners need to take a far stronger line with drivers. Drivers, and we'll talk later about that, need to be vetted in some way.
Yeah.
That you don't just take a driver with a license that has been, that everybody, all the drivers got the same license. Mr. De Santos comes from, Mozambique.
Yeah.
And everybody's using the same driver's license. So yeah, there's got to be a far tighter control of who gets behind it at the wheel of a taxi. Because think about it, this guy's not only got his own life, but he's got the life of 15 passengers, sometimes 15 youngsters, children in that vehicle.
Yeah.
Yet we allow him to jump in and drive the vehicle.
What is that, though?
Well, I think it's a combination of everybody in the chain. The lack of law enforcement, the lack of enforcement by the taxi owner himself, a combination of these things lead to the situation that we have presently.
Would you agree that as an employer, there are certain things that don't make sense to me. You purchase a 1 million rand asset. Immediately when it lands in your yard, you take the keys, you give the keys to someone you don't know well, who has a PDP, which is a professional driving permit. That means nothing. It's just an endorsement on top of on top of a driver's license.
Yes.
You give this guy the vehicle, and you give them control of the customer, the person who's going to help you maintain this vehicle. You give that power to somebody that is not vetted and you don't know. Why is the industry not taking control of that? Why is government required to take control of somebody who must take care of your asset?
Well, I don't say that government must take control of it. I say that all parties should be getting together to say there's a problem. How do we resolve it?
Yeah.
Let me give you an example, if I may. We believe, and in Santaka, and the president of Santaka, Mr. Chebe, and the executive chairman, Sebanyone, are pushing very hard to have a data bank of drivers.
Right.
Step one.
Right.
Step two, government should have far more than a PDP
Yeah.
for the transporting of people. It should be a second or a third type of testing that is done to make absolutely sure you're healthy, you're capable to drive a public transport vehicle. In the database, you should keep record of where this driver has been in the past so that you can go back. A owner who now has a vehicle, he can't drive two vehicles. He can drive his vehicle and he now buys another one. He wants to grow his business.
Sure.
He has to have a driver.
Yes.
At the moment, he's looking at the papers and saying, oh, well, it looks as if this person's qualified. We say we should have a database that he can go into and phone this person's previous employer.
You're right.
How did things go? No, he wrote off two of my vehicles.
Yeah.
Oh, well, hold on a second, then I'm not going to be able to employ this.
Yes.
So that's one of the most important elements is the database. Why it's not there after 40 years, I can't answer. But I can tell you that the industry is going ahead now with a database. If government wishes to be involved, they must welcome. They should be involved.
They should be.
They should be. But we can't wait. And so we are going ahead with the database because at the end of the day, it's not only the people's lives that are at risk, it's also the damage to your vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, the insurance claims and things that go up and the prices that go up and so on. And at the end of the day, it's the person who uses the taxi that pays the higher price. So we've got to put a stop to it.
I think that's a good start. In the next by Friday next week, there will be an app that's running only for passengers, where passengers are going to be able to express what they experience every day. Driver behavior, vehicle conditions, how the taxi rank looks, and.
Yes.
All of that information needs to be deposited somewhere in some kind of a bank for us to be able to determine whether the people that we have in the industry are fit for purpose.
For sure.
And we would like to have a discussion with you on that because the app is been built and is rolling out, and we're not waiting for the industry.
No.
We are not waiting. We are not asking for permission from you. We're not asking you to give us money. The passengers have been seeking for the longest time an opportunity to express themselves, to say the things that they see. And that's the app that we're rolling out there. And that collaboration between us and you guys would be an important one because we'll give you real-time data.
And you can be assured that, first of all, we will partner you in that.
Right.
And that if we can get that type of information, we will take action to the satisfaction of the people that that bring the problems to our attention.
I think that's an important statement, Daddy James, because I know that the industry has got public relations offices.
Yes.
And those public relations offices are established and designed to try and give the customers a place to complain when they want, or even compliment when they have to.
Yes.
But the passengers and commuters have not used that optimally because they don't believe that it is objective.
Yes.
So we're giving the industry an independent, secured platform where customers can speak to the industry discreetly.
Yes.
Discreetly.
Yes.
Because the one important thing is that they are afraid of victimization.
Of course.
And you saying on record, on that camera, that when that app, the app is up, we will be able to partner with you, and you as the industry will do something about it.
Absolutely. And we will use the very PROs that you speak of,
Yes, yes.
who we need to go back to and say, do you know, are you aware, A, B, and C? But you can be absolutely assured, and you can hold us to that,
Yeah.
that we will partner you and we will take action.
It's an important thing, because I think the biggest crisis that we have, or the commuters have, is with the driver.
Yeah.
And we know that we also have problems as operators, because this driver moves from this employer to the next, and he leaves you with the traffic fines this big.
Yes.
And you don't even know that he's picking up tickets every day.
Yeah.
Because of his driving style, driving behavior, and all of that. And so we're ready to give you that kind of data every day if you need it. You need it. Because all our passengers would need is just a registration number of that vehicle. I think it would be the responsibility of the employer to then give us the name of the person who's driving that, because this database needs to be built,
Of course,
moving forward. So it means that this is the discussion that we need to get into real quickly, so that we know what we do with this data as soon as it arrives.
Agreed.
Okay. So drivers, but also they control money in that, James. They control your money.
Yeah.
It's one of the very few industries where your employee controls the variable expenses. They spend money on your behalf. It is because they're carrying this cash with them all the time.
Yes.
And they decide on a particular day how much you get.
Yeah.
As long as they've reached your threshold, if your threshold is 500 or 600, once they give you that, even if he makes 2,000 rand on that specific day, he'll give you your 600 rand, because that's what you've created as a threshold.
Yes.
And then we come back and we're saying that the operator is not able, you are not able to pay your vehicle installments, you are not able to maintain the vehicle, and the rest of the other things. But this is a problem that is created by the industry itself.
Yes. So we believe that about 34% of income to the taxi industry does not reach the owner. Average of 34%. And this is a major problem that the industry has to resolve. The way we are going about resolution of this is, and we've really looked at many possible ways of resolving it, and the end result has been, we need an electronic management system, so that, by the way, this is nearly a catch-all for all our issues.
Yeah.
So the person entering a taxi would have a card or a token or something, would touch on a unit, get into the vehicle. Let me immediately interrupt myself and say we have been running pilot projects for a number of years in this regard. And we are at the moment at rollout stage.
Okay.
In Rustenburg and in other parts of the country, we're already rolling out taxis. It's been tested well. And what does it do? So first of all, it will only allow a certain number of people to enter the taxi. It's a 16-seater, and the 70th person gets in that vehicle will not be able to leave. Simple as that. Will not electronically. It will shut.
That advanced.
It's that advanced. Secondly, the cash disappears. It's no longer it's gone to the owner.
Okay.
Already. Out of the cash that goes to the owner, payments are made against the vehicle, against insurance, etc. And some goes back to the driver for purchases of fuel, etc.
Real time.
Onto his real time, yes. And then at the end of the month, that whole lot is brought to account and resolved.
Sure.
This also records where a vehicle, where the passenger enters the vehicle, where the passenger gets off of the vehicle. You could watch it in real time on the screen. You can plot where the vehicle is going. And you can then actually work out for the owner, which is something that we as Taxi Choice want to participate in. You can start indicating to the owner if his vehicle is profitable or not. Because sometimes the industry doesn't know how profitable the vehicle is. Is it what I expect, or is it less? The only indication of that is that we know about 34% is not getting to the owner, so we think it's more profitable than what we realize.
Oh, yeah.
So this we believe will resolve the problems, and it will take about 3 years to roll out throughout the country.
Right.
And then you can use your card to get on one taxi, get on the next, you can get on the bus, get on the train. You can use they're interoperable.
Yes.
The department has set out certain specific requirements for interoperability, and you have to meet those. And we think this is the way forward in resolving a large number of the problems that we've spoken of.
So that being said, that is James, you will not be able, because then that speaks to you gathering data, both financial but also market intelligence.
Yes, of course.
You are saying 34% of the revenue is lost untraceable.
Yes.
Or at least is a belief.
Yes.
But you guys have allowed, there's this thing that you call EQAP.
Yes.
You've created this monster yourself. This is you guys short-circuiting the system. Because all you need as a qualification is your status. I'm a member in good standing.
Yeah.
And then I can take any taxi or many other taxis just under my name. What this does to the route itself and its viability, and to your fellow members in the association, it's doing damage that has not been documented. What are we doing about this problem? Do we first acknowledge that there's a problem? And is there something that we're doing about this problem?
So there are two ways that this is implemented. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. Both, by the way, are shortcuts.
Okay.
The right way is if I have an operating license, but I cannot at that stage afford a vehicle.
Okay.
That I allow you to use my operating license.
Okay.
We see no fault in that, because there's still one vehicle for the operating license.
Okay.
Not over trading. Then there's the other that you mentioned, and that is the fact that one person who has one operating license has 5 vehicles running on that operating license. That is totally unacceptable and has to be stopped. It's unacceptable because you are overtrading the route.
Yeah.
Everybody on that route suffers the consequences of what you are doing.
Yes.
And in fact, you will bring that route into disrepute because people now have to really bend the rules to be able to meet the requirements of it. So that we are totally opposed to. And we believe, again, if we can work more closely with the Department of Transport and the law enforcers in this regard, this has to be stopped and cleaned up without a doubt.
And maybe we should. I'm always accused that every problem of the taxi industry, I take it into the Department of Transport. and this is one of the things that I wanna keep here in the industry. I've gone through a number of association constitutions,
Yes.
and the constitution would be clear that you as the member, you can only operate 1 to a max of 5.
Yeah.
Right? But you go to the Eastern Cape. I was in Matatiele now recently. There's a guy who operates 50 vehicles on the same route. One person. There's a guy who would operate a route alone with all his vehicles alone. What do we do with situations like this where you guys yourself, it's self-sabotaging? Your own constitution you don't respect. It is really about the power, who is more influential in the industry. Because before we get to government, that needs to start from within. What are we doing about that situation?
Okay, there's a bit of a technicality there, and I don't want to rely on technicalities, but you can't, in terms of competition law, restrict anybody to the number of vehicles that they can operate.
Yeah.
So we have had this dilemma that if you do that and a person puts a 6th vehicle onto the route, there's not much you can do about it, because they rely on the fact the Competition Commission will not allow you
To stop it. Yeah.
And because of that, nobody else will assist you in stopping it. In terms of one person running 50 vehicles on a route.
So sorry, James. Before you move forward, will the competition law stand even in circumstances where you signed a membership from the beginning that restricts you from having more than 5?
You cannot restrict a person from having more than 5.
So the constitutions of multiple organizations are irregular.
Yeah, they cannot be implemented that way.
So it means that the people that are sitting with these constitutions that are supposed to be guiding documents, those documents are in contravention of the competition law,
yes,
and by extension then the Constitution of the Republic.
Yes,
because that's what it is.
Yes.
So if the standing, if the documents that brings you together as an association are questionable, debatable amongst yourself, even yourself as a homogeneous group,
yes,
what does that mean to the value of that piece of paper that everything is written on?
You mean the Constitution?
The Constitution, that is.
Look, the Constitution is based on a document from the Department of Transport. You can't just write your own constitution in the taxi industry. You have what is called the minimum standard constitution, which the Department of Transport issues. And on that, you can now change it as much as you would like, add to it, but the standard constitution must still be there. I think that many of these issues have been allowed to unravel over a period of time, and that it's because the various players, including the industry, ownership of the industry, and the various other players, the law enforcers, etc., have not really got together properly. So you have a taxi, the khotla, for 2 days, a lot of noise and a lot of ribbons and so on. But effectively, that's all that it is.
Yeah.
What you really should be having is a taxi meeting for 2 weeks somewhere, with the various players in the industry, looking at these points that you are raising.
Right.
How do we resolve them? How do we get past these particular problems? And I think that is something that's got to be dealt with.
Ja, en hij drijft.